Thank you, Chair. Mr. Holden, I undertook to revert to the Chair with references in relation to the diagram at page 1101. I see you have it up there. I was going to ask you to put it up there. Chair, we've now done that referencing exercise, and we were coming back to you with references on the right-hand side of that diagram. So starting with the $168,845.32 that becomes 620,000 dirham that goes into Global Standard Chartered. It's the first branch coming down on the left. Sorry, not on the left, on the right.
On the right, yeah.
On the right. So it's the left-hand arrow down on the right, if you...
Yes, into Global
Standard Chartered. That's on page 349.
Page 3.
And all of these references will be Flow of Funds Bundle 5. Immediately to the right of it is $115,740, also coming down into Global Standard Chartered in dirham. That's 345.
Oh, that's the page.
Same page, indeed.
That's in relation to...
So, Chair, I think Mr. Holden will just highlight it on the screen. So that's the $115,740 converted into 425,000 dirham.
Okay, and that's page
345.
345.
All of these are in bundle 5,
yes.
Not bundle 6. Coming down from that rectangle, there are two lines, both of which we see at page 349. And then the 620,000 and 425,000 that is turned into cash leads to a 425,000 cash deposit into Global National Bank of Abu Dhabi. That's at 349. And
hang on 1 second. Let me see on the screen. That's the one. Okay. And that's page
349. 349.
349. Okay.
And the other movement of the cash was out to the right and down to Vicus via JJT. That's at 345. And also at 342. It's picked up twice.
Okay.
And the last transaction on this page that we hadn't yet got to was the payment coming down from the Global National Bank of Abu Dhabi, a payment of 475,620 dirham into an entity called the Wizcraft. That's at 349. And Mr. Holden, can you explain who Wizcraft are or were?
Certainly, Chair. Wizcraft are an entertainment services company that provided the Gupta enterprise with dancers and other entertainment for the Sun City wedding.
So, well, this payment in particular, we have, well, it's one of several payments. Maybe if I can ask you to go to Bundle 6, page 467, Bundle 6.
Page 467.
That's correct. And can you tell the Chair what we see at Bundle 6? Sorry, at 467.
Certainly, Chair. What we have here is an email that was extracted from the Gupta Leaks records. It was attached as Annexure Q to my report. It's an email that's sent from Johan Skalkvik, at johan@vdmas.co.za, sent on Wednesday, August the 14th, 2013, to Ashu Chola, and also CC'd to another VDMAS email address, denise@vdmas.co.za, with the subject Wizcraft, and the subject, the content of the email reads, "Dear Mr. Ashu, attached here to the amended draft as requested, yours faithfully, Johan Skalkveg."
And if you go over the page, is this the attachment that was linked to the email?
That's correct, Chair.
Page 468?
That's correct, Chair.
And I don't want you to read this whole document, but can you explain to the Chair what it is?
Certainly, it's a letter that's been drafted by Johan Skalkveg in relation to a dispute around payments between the Gupta Enterprise and Wizcraft. There are disputes about the terms under which payments will be made for the entertainment services provided.
And can I ask you to go to page 469? And there, the writer lists 4 payments that were made to Wizcraft in settlement of their invoice. How does that link to the diagram that we're looking at?
Certainly, the 4th payment that's listed there of $129,600 is made on the 24th of July 2013. That is the same date as reflected in the ledgers, as being paid from Global's National Bank of Abu Dhabi account into Wizcraft's account of 475,000 dirham. And I did a calculation on the exchange rate at the time, and that amount of dirham almost exactly equals $129,600.
Thank you. That concludes the first payment. If we turn the page, if we go to the next diagram, and Chair, that's at bundle 6, page 1102. It's in fact on the back of the page that you may have taken out.
The page number?
1102, Chair.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one I took out, yeah.
And can you take the Chair through this diagram, Mr. Holden?
Certainly, Chair. We have, this diagram begins, it's a relatively straightforward one, again with the green box for LIBA. It starts with a payment of $212,006.01 that is transferred in on the 17th of February 2014, and it's a payment that's made into Accurate Mashreq Bank's US dollar account.
What was significant about 17 February 2014?
Chair, on the 17th of February 2014, that was the same day that LIBA announced that it had won the contract from Transnet.
And what happens to this $212,000 once it lands in the Accurate Mashreq account?
Certainly, Chair. What happens in this instance is that it's commingled with funds from other sources. Other sources I've not entirely been able to determine the ultimate origin of, but effectively it moves through Gupta Enterprise companies like Unlimited Electronic Computer. Eventually, on the 25th of February 2014, $450,000 is paid into Accurate Mashreq's account, where it joins the $212,000 from LIBA. And then on that same day, with the account balance increased sufficiently, there is a payment of $599,327 on the 25th of February to Linkway Trading.
So once again, what we have is a payment made by LIBA in respect of a Transnet contract that ends up in a Gupta company in South Africa, namely Linkway.
That's correct, Chair.
Chair, we're not going with references on these diagrams. We will provide you with a fully referenced set of diagrams.
Okay.
The third diagram, page 1103, and Chair, for that you'll have to go back to bundle 6.
Yes, I've got it.
Mr. Holden, can you take us through that diagram?
Certainly, Chair. Again, it begins with the green go box at the top, indicating LIBOR. On the 15th of April 2014, LIBOR transfers amount of $371,105.83.
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairperson, did you say I must go to page, or you said 1103?
1103, Chair.
I think maybe it's been a long day. I skip on sometimes going to 10 something when you say 11 something. Okay, let me. Yes, I've got it.
And Mr. Holden, can you take us through this one?
Certainly. So as I was saying, the first amount, Chair, begins with the payment from LIBOR into Accurate Investments Mashreq Bank US dollar account, and the total of that payment is $371,105.83, and that's transferred on the 15th of April 2014. Just shy of 2 weeks later, 13 days later, on the 28th of April 2014, there is an amount of $375,000 that is transferred from Accurate's Mashreq Bank account into Fidelity Enterprises' Mashreq Bank account. Obviously, the additional, I think it's $3,900 making up that payment, were funds already resting in the Accurate account at that point. And then finally, to complete this, on the 29th of April 2014, an amount of $400,000 is transferred from Fidelity's Mashreq Bank US dollar account into Oak Bay's accounts, of which $371,000 emanated from LIBOR.
So once again, a payment in respect of a Transnet Cranes contract is made offshore and lands in a South African Gupta enterprise company.
That's correct, Chair.
Can we go to 1104 and the fourth payment? Can you start with the money that comes in from LIBOR?
Certainly. So the way I've organized this particular payment is rather than a payment, it's a payment tranche. And the reason I've organized it in this way is because all of these funds are used to the same purpose eventually. So it begins with, Chair, at the top right-hand corner, LIBOR makes 3 different transfers into Accurate's Mashreq US dollar account. On the 7th of May 2014, it's for $405,598.52. On the 19th of May 2014, $402,879.34 is paid into Accurate Mashreq. And then finally, on the 26th of May 2014, $296,890.30 is paid into Accurate Mashreq's account.
And can you give the Chair the sum of those 3 payments? You've used it low down in your diagram.
Yes. I was hoping you weren't asking me to do that in my head. The total amount of those payments is $1,105,368.16.
And those payments into Accurate's Mashreq account are going to be commingled with other payments. Can you identify or can you describe the movement of the other payments that come into Accurate?
Certainly, Chair. We have 2 streams. On the top left here, we have a payment of roughly $4.5 million that is paid into an account of Reliable. Reliable is another Gupta enterprise company, Mashreq Bank's US dollar account. JJT Force Exim, it's a little bit difficult to discern exactly what company they refer to, but I think we can very safely assume it is JJ Trading or one of its subsidiaries.
And where did most of JJ Trading's payments into the Gupta companies derive from?
They derive from payments related to the Transnet contracts.
Sorry, which Transnet contracts?
It is the 1064, contract. And
It's the locomotives contract, and I think there's another contract that it may be as well.
I would rather not say right now because there is a difference between JJT and Century General Trading. And I would just want to double check exactly which.
Sure. So at any rate, we do know that most of the money that JJT receives and transfers into the Guptas comes from the locomotives contract.
That's correct.
From Reliable Mashreq, where does that money go?
On the 12th of May 2014, $2.5 million is transferred, $2.5 million is transferred into Global's Mashreq US dollar account. And then thereafter, on the 26th of May, $2.2 million is transferred from the Global Mashreq US dollar account into Accurate Mashreq's US dollar account.
And then if you can deal with the parallel stream of funds that's going to end up in the Accurate Mashreq account?
Certainly. I've indicated here mixed sources, including JJT Century on the far left here. When I was compiling and trying to trace these funds, there were quite a large number of payments that are made into Global Mashreq's dirham account from various different sources, of which JJT Century was certainly the largest one. I've always interpreted JJT Century to potentially refer to Century General Trading, which was the sister company of JJ Trading and which also received funds from the Transnet locomotive contracts. So those mixed sources over the course of 4 days between the 11th of May 2014 and the 15th of May 2014 pay 8.2 million dirham into Global Mashreq Bank's dirham-based account. Those commingled funds are then transferred on the 19th of May 2014 as an amount of 5,336,000 dirham into Accurate Mashreq dirham-based account, and then transferred in 2 payments over to Accurate Mashreq's US dollar account. The first payment is on the 27th of May 2014, equivalent to 1.7 million dirham, which is $462,710.94. And the following day, on the 28th of May, we have 4,545,800 dirham, which is equivalent to $1,237,289.06.
And then what happens to these accumulated funds in Accurate's Mashreq account?
Certainly, Chair, as soon as the funds are commingled into the Accurate account, which effectively acts as a piggy bank to facilitate one further transfer, on the 28th of May 2014, $5 million is paid from Accurate Mashreq's account into the account of Brookfield Consultants, which is a company based in the US, which, as I've noted before, of which $1,105,368.16 emanates from LIBA.
Can I ask you now to turn to page 213 of Bundle 6, where you describe who Brookfield are?
$213.
213 at paragraph 114.
Certainly, Chair. The tax records filed in the US state of Texas show that...
Just hang on one second,
apologies.
Mr. Holden. Let me get there. Yes, I've found it, yes.
Thank you, Chair. The tax records that are filed in the US state of Texas show that the directors of, or the individuals who signed tax return information on behalf of Brookfield in the US are Ashish and Amal Gupta, who are relatives of the Gupta brothers. I do indicate here that there is an Annexure S of that tax. That's one of the annexures that appears not to be included in the bundle, which we'll need to resolve over the weekend.
Thank you. But can I ask you to go to Annexure T, which is an email in relation to this payment? It's at page 477. And can you describe to the Chair what this annexure is?
Certainly. What we have here is an email from Tony or Rajesh Gupta from his Sahara account that's sent on Wednesday, the 7th of May, 2014, and it is sent to Ronika Raghavan's Oak Bay email address and to AJ Gupta's, I think it's his Sahara address, and the subject is forward info, and the body of the text indicates that Tony Gupta was forwarding on a message that had originally been sent from Ramesh Gupta at the address rgupta666@yahoo.com, which he had originally sent 2 days before on the 5th of May to Tony Gupta and to Ashur Chawla. And what it provides is bank information for Brookfield Consultants so that the amount could be transferred across to Brookfield Consultants in the US.
And can I ask you to go to the bottom of the page where you'll see the email that Ramesh Gupta, a trailing email from Ramesh Gupta, which is how he describes the money that's going to be paid?
Certainly. So preceding that email chain, Ramesh Gupta writes to an individual by the name of Ken Haas. I'm afraid I haven't been able to identify exactly who that is. But the email reads, Ken, please send information for the money transfer from South Africa to Brookfield, same entity as it went from. It should include bank details and transfer instructions.
So the Gupta relative in America understood that this money that he was going to receive came from South Africa, and of course he was right, because it came ultimately from Transnet.
That's correct.
So even though this is a payment made in respect of a Transnet contract that ends up not in South Africa, but at a Gupta relative in the United States. Can we go to page 1105, where we look at the fifth tranche? And can you describe to the Chair what you see there?
Certainly, Chair. Sadly, this was the final tranche in relation to LIBA that...
I'm sorry, you said we should go to what page, Mr. Chaskowson?
Chair, it's 1105.
Oh, okay.
Bundle 6.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm ready.
And Mr. Holden, can you describe what you see there?
Certainly. Chair, this is unfortunately a tranche that I'm not able to complete the tracing on, as at this date, the Gupta Leaks records, the internal ledgers go dark for us. We have no idea where the funds go to from there. We are able to begin a small amount of the tracing. So it begins on the 9th of October 2014, flowing from LIBA into Accurate Standard Chartered Bank account in US dollars for $368,110. And that amount is dissipated pretty quickly. On the, apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The second transfer in from LIBA is made on the 1st of December 2014, and that was for $270,840. And it's again paid into Accurate Standard Chartered Bank account. And then this essentially splits into two streams that we can trace. First, coming off to the left of Accurate Standard Chartered Bank account, we have two transfers, one made on the 9th of December 2014 for $20,000, and that goes into Fidelity Enterprises Mashreq Bank US dollar account. And on the 10th of December, so the following day, a further $20,000 is transferred from Accurate Standard Chartered Bank account into Fidelity Mashreq's US dollar bank account. And then...
So the one, there are two which were effected on the same date, is that right?
There's two. There's one that's made on the 9th, Chair, and one that's made on the 10th, both of $20,000.
Oh, I thought you had talked about two which were made on the 10th, and I thought you said 20,000 in regard to what seems to be 200,000.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You are not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
still there. I was still busy addressing the left-hand side. And then returning to the right-hand side, as the Chair has correctly identified, on the 10th of December 2014, 200,000 is transferred from Accurate Standard Chartered bank account into Global's Bank of Baroda US dollar account, where it commingles with other funds. And on the 11th of December 2014, 243,000 is transferred from Global's Bank of Baroda US dollar account into Fidelity's Bank of Baroda US dollar account. And unfortunately, at that point, our records go dark and we cannot trace it any further.
Now, we've seen 5 tranches of payment from LIBHA. They all end up, or they either end up in Gupta companies in South Africa or the United States, and the last one hasn't left a Gupta company in Dubai at the point at which we lose sight of it. Can you tell the Chair what other activity, if any, was taking place in the Accurate accounts over these periods?
Certainly, Chair. The Accurate account is relatively inactive. What we do see is a large number of transfers into and out of the account from other Gupta enterprise companies. For 2013, the only payment into Accurate Investments accounts that we see from outside of the Gupta enterprise is from LIBHA. In 2014, we see LIBHA again as a payee into those accounts, and one other payee by the name of VK Trading Hong Kong. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to determine exactly who that is. But what is very notable is that there are no expenses coming out of that account. There's no payment of salaries, there's no payment of office costs, there's no payment for any sort of physical infrastructure at all.
And maybe in that regard, can I ask you and the Chair to go...
I'm sorry. Much earlier, other than the movement of what you identified as money from Transnet, was there much activity in relation to Accurate showing that they were a company that was really operational other than just being used for money laundering?
Yeah, we do have certain records. Obviously, our records for Accurate only begin at the beginning of 2013 from the Gupta leaks.
Yes.
But prior to the LIBHA deposits, again, we see no activity that would indicate a functioning company that has staff or a physical premise.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you.
This tranche, the 5th tranche, there was a further point that I wanted to make in relation to it. The point at which the trail goes cold for you is a point at which all of those funds have ended up in Fidelity accounts. Is that correct?
That's correct, Chair.
Can I ask you to go to, and it's in December 2014 that the trail goes cold?
That's correct.
Can I ask you to go to Flow of Funds Bundle 5, page 636?
What's the page number again?
636, Chair.
636.
This is the Reserve Bank spreadsheet record of cross-border transactions of Fidelity. And can I ask you to look at that cross-border transaction on the 5th of January 2015?
Certainly.
What you see there? Sorry, Chair, are you at the page?
Yes.
Chair, what I see here is a payment in on the 5th of January 2015 into the Oak Bay Investments account. And over on the following page on 637, under the heading non-resident surname.
I'm sorry, at 636, did you say 5th of January 2015?
That's correct.
That's like the 4th or 5th item from the top, eh?
That's correct,
That's correct, Chair.
In fact, make a note that it's the fourth item from the top, because that's how we'll follow it across the next pages, because this is one long line.
Okay. Yeah, just, Mr. Holden, just mention the point you make about that item. Just repeat the point you were making.
Certainly. So on the 5th of January, we see a flow in that is paid into Oak Bay Investments account, and the resident ID column, which is the second last column on the spreadsheet there, would be the CIPC registration number for Oak Bay Investments.
Okay.
And then on the following page, again, we have to trace the fourth entry because these are supposed to be read next to each other rather than one after each other. We see that the resident address is given as Oak Bay Investments registered address, and the payee under the non-resident surname entry is given as Fidelity Enterprises. And then finally, the rand amount is given as 23,430,328 rand and 54 cents.
Okay, now on page 637, I haven't identified. Just tell me where I see the relevant items.
Certainly, Chair. It's the fourth entry down.
Fourth entry from the bottom of the page.
From the top of the page.
From the top of the
Apologies,
page.
Chair.
That's Oak Bay, yes.
And then if you follow that to the right, we see the non-resident surname as Fidelity Enterprises.
Oh, that's the 23 million.
23,430,328.
Yeah, okay.
And 54. Then sadly, we have to go again over to the next page, as these are all supposed to be running contiguously. And if you look at the fourth entry down again, this is a Flow of Funds Bundle 5, page 638. We have 4 entries down. An amount of the US dollar amount is $1.999970 million.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I must actually stop at that point. I can't make the, the further point that I was hoping I'd be able to make. Can I ask you to go to volume 5? I've taken you out of the topic that you were addressing, which is movement on the Accurate accounts, because Accurate was the party paid by Liebherr. Can I ask you to go to page 113 of bundle 5? And can you tell the Chair what we're looking at here?
Certainly, Chair. This was submitted as Annexure A to my Estina report. This is the spreadsheet that I put together by scraping all the, or collating all the entries, the funds flow entries, and then creating a running balance to the right of that. And then organizing that by company, which I've now also put on screen because the printed version is incredibly difficult to read.
And do you see any receipts by Accurate, or any revenue coming into Accurate in this period of 1 March 2013 to 26 February 2014 that don't come either from a Gupta company or from Liebherr?
On this spreadsheet, no, Chair.
I suppose in fairness to Liebherr, we should point out that on the 12th of January 2014, there was a cash deposit of 10,000. Oh, but that goes out, sorry. can I ask whether you see any payments out to any entity other than a Gupta entity?
I do not.
And that's for a period, that's for a full calendar year?
That's correct, Chair.
Thanks. Has LIBA ever tried to explain these payments?
Certainly, they issued one statement in October 2017, which I'm sure we'll turn to shortly.
Yes, let's turn then now. It's page 1, well, can you confirm that what we see at 1099 in bundle 6 is a LIBA statement?
Correct, Chair, that is LIBA's statement.
Sorry, to say 109 of...
1099 of bundle 6, Chair.
Or 1099.
That's correct.
Okay. Yes.
Can I ask you to read LIBA's explanation for these payments in this statement?
Certainly. So, as context, LIBA issued this statement in response to a media article that was published by Amu Bungani, which is an a group of investigative journalists who do excellent work, who indicated, based on the Gupta leaks, that LIBA had been paying money to Gupta enterprise companies. I will resume from paragraph 3 of that statement, if that makes sense.
Well, maybe we should start from paragraph 1. So.
Okay. It says, in an article published on July 17, 2017, a group of investigative South African journalists, Amu Bungani, mentioned LIBA Container Cranes Limited, based in Killarney, Ireland, in the context of an alleged kickback scheme related to supply contracts with Transnet and involving the sales agent Accurate Investments Limited. LIBA considers these allegations as very serious. The business practices described in the article are unacceptable to us. The commitment to integrity of conduct and to fair competition in markets across the world is part of our core values. In accordance with group policies, the ultimate holding company of the LIBA Group, LIBA International AG, therefore conducted an internal investigation into the matter. The results of this investigation show that the transactions under investigation were legally sound and not in violation of any applicable laws or regulations on the part of LIBA entities and employees involved. The selection of a sales agent such as Accurate Investments Limited to provide interface services to the end user during the tender, procurement and supply process is a practice which is common in the sales process for capital expenditure projects. It is also common that such a sales agent receives a nominal commission for the services provided in the event the tender, procurement and supply process is successfully completed.
Can I just stop you there? I think you've mentioned already the amount of the nominal commission that Accurate received in this case. Can you just refresh our memory if you translate it or give a dollar amount and then translate it into rands?
Certainly, Chair. The total amount that we can track from LIBA into Accurate Investments is $3,232,430.88, which is equal to 49,381,200 rand and 7 cents at today's exchange rate.
And that nominal commission, of course, is only what you can see, not what you know to be the total of what LIBA paid Accurate.
That's correct.
Can you continue with the LIBA statement?
In the case in question, Accurate Investments Limited was the sales representative selected by LIBA Container Cranes Limited. As required by the group's due diligence process, LIBA Container Cranes Limited performed background checks prior to entering into the agency agreement with Accurate Investment Limited. These background checks did not indicate any malpractice on the part of Accurate Investments Limited. The internal investigation report did observe, however, that the group's defined due diligence process might have been implemented in a more stringent manner, in this case, by pushing the performed background checks to an even higher level than the ones actually performed. Being aware of the increased risks associated when agents are included in any type of transaction, group companies, management, and employees must strive to ensure that the group's standard of scrutiny and diligence are complied with in day-to-day business.
I see. Have you ever tried to engage with LIPA over this quite extraordinary explanation in relation to the kickbacks that they pay to Accurate Investments?
Certainly, Chair. Prior to my submission that I made regarding Transnet and this flow of funds, I thought it appropriate to approach LIBA again a number of years later to ask them detailed questions about this contract and to get their response.
Can I ask you to turn to page 1107? Can you tell the Chair what we see there?
Certainly, Chair. We see an email that was sent from my email address to 3 individuals at LIBA. The first is Philip Hirth at LIBA.com. The second is Sandra Diella at LIBA.com. The third is Berenica Nordman at LIBA.com. And the email was sent on Wednesday, August the 12th, 2020.
And can you, well, I think, can you read your email to LIPA and the questions you asked them?
Certainly. I say, hello, my name is Paul Holden. I am currently Director of Investigations at Shadowworld Investigations, and I provide our URL address, SWI. SWI intends to publish a lengthy report on the capture of the South African state rail facility Transnet by the Gupta family and their extended network. This report includes a discussion of the contract entered into between LIBA Cranes Limited and Accurate Investments, the latter now well established as a front ultimately controlled by the Gupta family. Using internal accounting records, our report will trace how the funds paid to Accurate Investments by LIBA were used by Accurate Investments. This process has revealed that the funds paid by LIBA to Accurate were almost always immediately dissipated into other accounts controlled by the Guptas and ultimately used to pay for services delivered to the Gupta family. This includes, for example, using LIBA funds to hire actors and musicians to perform at the now notorious Sun City wedding of Vega Gupta. Prior to publishing our report, I was hoping that LIBA would be willing to answer the following questions, which I provide hereunder. We would include your responses in our final report and in any additional media coverage that flows from our findings. I would appreciate a response by end of business day, Friday, the 14th of August. And here I delve into the questions. I say questions. 1. On the 16th of October 2017, LIBA issued a press statement regarding allegations of kickbacks paid to assist LIBA Africa secure contracts for the supply of cranes to Transnet. The statement indicated that LIBA had found no evidence of wrongdoing after an internal investigation. Do you wish to add any further information to this statement or any further clarification? At question 2, I say, in the same statement, you clarify that LIBA Cranes Limited entered into a sales agreement with Accurate Investments. In this regard, question 2A, what services did Accurate Investments provide? Question 2B, on what date was the agreement with Accurate Investments entered into? 2C, what was the total value of payments made under the terms of this sales agreement when the last payment was made, and when was the agreement set to terminate? 2.D, who signed the sales agreement on behalf of Accurate Investments? Who else from Accurate Investments was LIBA in contact with regarding this contract and its fulfillment? 2.E, who signed the sales agreement on behalf of LIBA Cranes? Question 3, Accurate Investments is a Dubai-based entity with the sole Indian director, Sanjay Grover, who had no notable connections to South Africa. The company has no online presence or infrastructure, while the on-the-ground investigations suggest that it has no physical office. What possible interface services could this company have provided to LIBA Cranes? Considerable evidence has emerged showing that Accurate Investments was controlled by the Gupta family and formed one of a number of offshore entities based in Dubai used by the family to receive, launder, and dissipate funds. And I then link to an article which describes that process, and I ask, would you care to comment? The fifth question...
And 5 and 6 relate to other matters that we may address at another time in the Commission, but are not relevant to your evidence today. Did LIPA respond?
Certainly, they responded the following week on Wednesday, the 19th of August 2020. They wrote back to me. The individual who wrote back was Philip Hirth at liber.com, and they responded, Dear Mr. Holden, thank you very much for your message.
Sorry, are you reading now from page 1108?
That's correct.
1108, yes.
Dear Mr. Holden, thank you very much for your message. In 2017, we conducted an internal investigation into the role of Liber Container Cranes Limited, based in Kalani Island, in the context of the processes you mentioned. In doing so, we took into account all the information available to us. In a public statement on October 13th of the same year, we made available the results of this investigation. Please find the original statement attached to our email.
And can I stop you there? Was that the statement that we read a short while ago?
That's correct, Chair. With the completion of the investigation report and the publication of the results, we consider the case to be concluded for us. We ask for your understanding in this regard.
Did you give them the understanding?
And did you understand?
I understood, but I did not agree.
Chair, that concludes Mr. Holden's evidence on LIPA. I'm hoping that it doesn't conclude the Commission's evidence on LIPA. We are now about to move to the Transnet side of the report, and that will require quite a detailed introductory lead-in to set the scene.
Yes.
So with your permission, Chair, I'd ask that we adjourn at this point and pick that up on Monday.
Yes, okay, all right. So we'll continue on, we'll have an evening session on Monday. That's when Mr. Holden will continue.
Thank you, Chair. And at what time should Mr. Holden make himself available on Monday?
I think maybe he should be here at 5. I think let's say 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Holden. But you will be back on Monday. Thank you very much. We'll adjourn for the day, and then next week during the day, I will hear evidence relating to ESCOM, and then in the evenings, I will hear evidence relating to money flows. Okay. It will be money flows throughout, Mr. Chaskalson, or there will be others that are not money flows?
There will be witnesses from McKinsey coming on Wednesday and Thursday next week.
Okay. All right, we'll adjourn for the day. Thank you. We adjourn.